Okay? But before we start reading, let's do a quick review. So, as you know, we're on on chapter 2 about the Bible. We considered about it being a gift from God, about it being a book of principles. But we also had the illustration about a businessman and the secretary. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, the businessman told the secretary to write a letter and told it what it should be about. And even though the secretary wrote it, it was the businessman's letter.
Exactly. So let's just make it a little bit clearer so you can explain it to others. You have the businessman, and he comes up with the idea. Then you have the secretary, who, from the businessman, he tells her, hey, write a letter off of my idea. The letter is from who?
The businessman.
Exactly. So now let's make this practical. Jehovah God comes up with the idea, and from there he tells the Bible writers, here's the idea, you write the letter for me. They write the letter. Now, is the idea and the letter from the Bible writers or Jehovah?
From Jehovah.
Exactly. So you put that all together perfectly, Caleb. And from there, that concludes our review. So let's move on to paragraphs 6 and 7 under the subheading harmonious and accurate. You want to start us off?
Sure. The Bible is written over a 1,600-year period. Its writers lived at different times and came from many walks of life. Some were farmers, fishermen, and shepherds. Others were prophets, judges, and kings. The gospel writer Luke was a doctor. Despite the varied background of its writers, the Bible is harmonious from beginning to end. The footnote reads, although some people say that certain parts of the Bible contradict other parts of it, such claims are unfounded. See chapter 7 of the book, The Bible, God's Word and Man, published by Jehovah's Witnesses. Back to the paragraph. The first book of the Bible tells us how mankind's problems began. The last book shows that the whole earth will become a paradise or garden. Although all the material in the Bible covers thousands of years of history and relates in some way to the unfolding of God's purpose, the harmony of the Bible is impressive, but that is what we would expect from a book from God.
That was some amazing reading, Caleb. Okay. So let's ask the question, 6 and 7. Why is the harmony of the material in the Bible particularly noteworthy?
Well, I like how it's always been harmonious from beginning to end. And on top of that, all the Bible writers had a bunch of different jobs. They probably didn't have as much time as the other ones, but it was always harmonious.
Exactly. So let's make this answer a little bit clearer. You have Genesis. It spoke of the paradise, and then it spoke of really what was the purpose of humankind. We know Adam and Eve messed up, they ate from the fruit. But in the end, in Revelation, we speak of the paradise once again. Is it harmonious?
Definitely.
And one other area in this paragraph 7. You know, before I tell you, have you ever heard of the game telephone?
Yeah, how you go in a circle and you whisper something and at the end it sounds completely different.
You got it. So think about it. We were playing this game, okay? Someone tells the idea in the beginning, and within 5 to 10 minutes, let's say it gets to the end of the circle. Does it usually sound anything like the original idea?
Not when I played.
Exactly, neither with me. So what's interesting is, look, that's only with 5 to 10 minutes. Thousands of years of history Jehovah has used. And with all that time, his purpose has remained harmonious from beginning to end. Isn't that amazing?
It has to be.
And that concludes 6 and 7. Let's move on to paragraph 8. And I'll take care of this one. The Bible is scientifically accurate. It even contains information that was far ahead of its time. For example, the book of Leviticus contained laws for ancient Israel on quarantine and hygiene, when surrounding nations knew nothing about such matters. At a time when there were wrong ideas about the shape of the earth, the Bible referred to it as a circle or sphere. The Bible accurately said that the earth is suspended upon nothing. Of course, the Bible is not a science textbook, but when it touches on scientific matters, it is accurate. Is this not what we would expect of a book from God? Question 8. Give examples showing that the Bible is scientifically accurate.
Well, I like how it says in the book of Leviticus that it contained laws for ancient Israel on quarantine and hygiene when other nations didn't know anything about that. You know, I learned in school that Egyptians used to cover themselves in feces, and they thought it was a new form of cleanliness.
Sounds gross.
Yeah, and then the second part was that the Bible referred to the earth as a circle or a sphere, and back then they thought it was flat.
Isn't it amazing? Look at that. So far ahead of the time of its time the Bible was. And Jehovah's people knew what was the truth. But let's open up our Bibles for that final point in Job 26:7. Job 26:7. You got it, Caleb?
Yeah.
And you want to read that for us?
Sure. He stretches out the northern sky over empty space, suspending the earth upon nothing.
Suspending the earth upon nothing. What do you think that means, Caleb?
Well, it wasn't on top of anything. I learned in school that it's just gravity that's holding it together.
Exactly. You know, at that time, they used to believe that there was a God holding it on his back, or there was some sort of giant animal that was holding the earth.
That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. But way before its time, the scriptures told who it was, or what it was, the earth was hanging upon. Nothing. Isn't that amazing, Kate?
Yeah.
And with that, that concludes our study. But before we finish, let's solidify all these thoughts with a video titled, How Can We Be Sure the Bible is True? Let's check it out.
Well, thank you very much, Brothers Nasario. We really appreciate how you handled that Bible study for us. Now, you were working on visual contact. And so we can definitely say that while you were doing your Bible study, that you did really good visual contact with Caleb. Now, I wasn't looking at you when I was talking, so how did that make you feel? It made you feel like maybe I wasn't interested in you, I was just talking. Well, it can be the same when you're on a Bible study. If you don't look at the person in the eyes.
So today mga bestie, meron na naman akong nahanap sa Shopee. Ang tawag dito ay Slushy Maker.